Good day, everyone. This content is for educational purpose use only. Our group is allowing our instructor, Mr. Roldan Ardines, to use this as an educational material. First, I would like to introduce my co-members and the presenters. By the way, I am Engine Cadet Rekla, together with my group members, Engine Cadet Duba, Engine Cadet Retiza, Engine Cadet Calabroso, Engine Cadet Tumuling, Engine Cadet Abad, Engine Cadet Juarez, and lastly, Engine Cadet Gomez. Before we will proceed to our topic, here is our objectives. First, understand the concept. Learn what is meant by Global North and Global South and the historical context behind these terms. Next, identify the key differences. Recognize the economic, social, and political differences between countries in the global north and the south. The third one is analyze causes and impacts. Study the causes of the divide, including colonial history, economic policy, and globalization, and understand the impacts on development and equality. The fourth one is explore solutions and cooperations. Examine ways to reduce the divide through international cooperation, fair trade, sustainable development, and policies promoting equity. My assigned topic is to discuss how did the global divide develop. So let's recall about the history. So historical events like colonization and imperialism lead some countries gaining wealth and power at the expense of others, creating lasting inequalities. So before countries who are already advanced, so they are the one has the opportunity of a better life. So next, money and development. So richer countries invested in infrastructure and industries, leading more development. Like the first world, we have the America, U.S. Poorer countries like lack of financial resources to make similar investment, which hinders to their growth. So some examples there are the third world uh, best example is the Philippines. So even though we are good in resources, in but in economics, so we are in low. So we cannot provide everything, unlike the first world countries. So next is access to stuff. Wealthier nations have better access to essential resources, healthcare, education, and other goods and services, while poor countries struggle with limited access these basic needs. So so unlike the first world, so they are already an industrialization, so they have a better life. Unlike the poor country, we have limited, and we need the support of the countries who are uh, more wealthier. So that's all. Thank you.
My topic is technology. Technological advancement are often concentrated in weather countries given them an age in economic social development. Poorer nations may lack the technology needed to advance in the some way. And the second is politics and conflicts, and political stability and governance play significant roles. Conflict and poor governance in some regions can prevent development and perpetuate poverty. And the third is discriminations. Discriminations based on race, ethnicity, gender, and other factors can be inequalities with and between countries, limiting opportunities for certain groups to advance. That's all.
Now I'm going to discuss why global divide the North and the South. The global divide between the North and the South refers to the socio-economic and political disparities between developed, which is northern, and developing, which is southern countries. This division is characterized by several key factors. Number one key factors, which is the economic disparity. Wealth distribution, northern countries such as the US, Canada, Europe, and parts of East Asia possess a significant portion of the world's wealth. In contrast, southern countries, mainly in Africa, Latin America, and parts of Asia, have less economic wealth and higher levels of poverty. Number two, which is industrialization. The North has advanced industrial sectors, technology, and infrastructure, leading to higher productivity and economic growth. The South often relies on agricultural and has less developed industrial bases. Next is access to resources. Natural resources. Northern countries have historically had greater access to and control over natural resources, including through colonialism, which is allowed them to accumulate wealth and power. Next is a capital and technology. The North has more capital for investment and advanced technology, which fuels further economic development and innovation. Now, let's proceed to number 3, which is the political influence and power. Global governance. Northern countries wield significant influence in global institutions like the UN, World Bank, and IMF. This allows them to shape international policies and economic rules to their advantage. Next is political stability. The North generally enjoys more political stability and effective governance, contributing to sustained economic development. Next is number 3. Oh, number 4 rather. Number it is a education and human capital. Education systems. Northern countries have better education systems, leading to higher literacy and rates and a more skilled workforce. This enhances their capacity for innovations and economic growth. Health and welfare. Better healthcare system and social welfare programs in the North contribute to high life expectancy and quality of life, supporting a productive population.
I am to continue the discussion of Engine Cadet Juma Retisa. Historical context, colonialism. Historical exploitation and colonization by northern countries have a left legacy of economic development and political instability in many southern countries. Global trade dynamics, trade policies and practices often favor northern countries, making it difficult for southern countries to compete on equal terms. These factors collectively contribute to the persistent divide between the North and the South, resulting in significant inequalities in wealth, power and opportunities on a global scale. Addressing this divide requires comprehensive international cooperation and policies aimed at promoting equitable development and reducing disparities.
Third world historically denote countries not politically aligned with the former Eastern Bloc or the West. On the other hand, Global South is an economic term denoting lower income countries.
Third World. During the Cold War era, the term Third World emerged as a way to categorize countries based on their political alignment of economic development. Cold War context, the world was divided three distinct groups. First World refers to Western capitalist countries aligned with the United States, including nations Western Europe, North America, and their allies. Second World denotes the socialized countries aligned the Soviet Union, including Eastern Europe and other communist states. Third World coined to describe countries that did not align with either the Western Bloc or Eastern Bloc. These nations were often newly independent states in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. The concept of the Third World has evolved, but its origin in the Cold War era reminds us the complex interplay between global politics and development. The term Third World originated during the Cold War, primarily referring to political alignment rather than economic status. Cold War context, the world was divided into three groups. First World, Western capitalist countries aligned the United States. Second World, communist countries aligned with the Soviet Union. Third World, countries that were not aligned with either bloc, often newly independent nations in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. Over time, the term has come to be associated more with the economic status, but its original meaning was rooted in political neutrality.
And my topic is define the term Global South and differentiate the Global South from the Third World and analyze how a new concept of global relation emerged from experiences of Latin American countries. So, defining Global South, the Global South refers to the regions of the world that are generally characterized by lower economic development, limited access to resources, and a history of colonialism and exploitation. The term encompasses countries in Latin America, Africa, Asia, and the Pacific, which have been marginalized and excluded from the benefit of globalization. So, differentiating the Global South from the Third World, while the term Global South and Third World are often used interchangeably, there are the key differences. The Third World, a term coined during the World War and described countries that were not aligned with either the Western First World or Eastern Second World blocs. The Third World refers to countries in Africa, Asia, and Latin America that were often poor, agrarian, and non-aligned. So, next is the Global South, a more contemporary term that highlights the global dynamics of power inequality and development. It emphasizes the historical and structural factors that have led to global inequality rather than simply categorizing countries as poor or developing. So, emergency emergence of a new concept of global relations from Latin American experiences. So that's all. Thank you.
Latin American countries have played a significant role in shaping the concept of the Global South and challenging traditional notions of development and globalization. Here are some key points and examples. Latin American influences dependency theory. Latin American scholars such as Fernando Henrique Cardoso and Enzo Faleto developed the dependency theory, which argues that underdevelopment in the global south is a result of exploitation by the global north, import substitution, industrialization. Latin American countries like Brazil and Argentina implemented import substitution industrialization policies, which aim to reduce dependence on foreign capital and promote domestic industrial development. Another is the pink tide. In the early 2000s, a wave of left wing governments emerged in Latin America known as the pink tide, which sought to challenge neoliberalism and promote regional integration and cooperation. Here are some key points and examples. Critical perspectives on globalization. So it is a Latin American scholars have contributed to a critical understanding of globalization, highlighting its negative consequences such as income inequality, cultural homogenization, and environmental degradation. Example, Uruguay's Jose Hervaso Artigas, who argued that globalization perpetuates a new form of colonialism, where multinational corporations exploit natural resources and labor in the global south. Another is that regional integration and cooperation. Latin American countries have sought to promote regional integration and cooperation, such as through the Union of South American Nations or UNASUR and the Latin Community of Latin American Caribbean States or the CELAC. Example, the Bolivarian Alliance for the Peoples of Our America, ALBA, initiated by Venezuela, promotes regional integration, cooperation, and solidarity among member countries. Alternative development models. Latin American countries have experimented with alternative development models such as the Bolivian model of living well or vivir bien, which prioritizes social welfare, environmental sustainability, and indigenous rights. Example, the Ecuadorian government's Buen Vivir or Good Living development model, which aims to balance economic growth with social and environmental sustainability. In summary, the Global South is a concept that highlights the structural inequalities and power imbalances between the North and South, while the Third World is a more outdated term that primarily referred to the countries that were not aligned with the Western or Eastern blocs during the Cold War. Latin American countries have played a significant role in shaping the concept of Global South, promoting alternative development models, regional integration, and critical perspectives on globalization.